Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about Bant birds. Yes, that's right, birds. There's a couple new birds from Final Fantasy that are really spicy, and of course I had to make a deck featuring the brand new birds. So I've done a bird deck on the channel before. It was I want to say about a year and a half ago. It was when the Lost Caverns of Ixalan came out, but that deck was really just like a blue-white flyers, aggro, simple, favorable wins deck. This deck is a lot different as a whole. It plays way different lands, an extra color, a whole bunch of different birds, and honestly, I think this deck is really fun, and that's because of this card, Traveling Chocobo. I really love this card. 3/2 for 3 bird. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. And then the really nice ability of, if a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So there's a few lands we're playing in this deck that are going to be really spicy with Traveling Chocobo, but in general, I really like this card just because, obviously playing lands is really nice so we can make sure we hit our land drops. Playing birds is nice, getting some extra card advantage potentially. It's just a really good card in general in this deck. I'd say it's arguably the best card in this deck, but let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cards in here. So obviously creatures. We're playing 34 creatures because after all, I wouldn't necessarily say an aggro deck, but we are a creature deck, which will kind of make sense here in a moment. So, our 1-drops, we're playing 4 Gilded Goose, 4 Judge's Familiar, and 4 Saz, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Chocobo. So Gilded Goose and Judge's Familiar, pretty self-explanatory. They're good 1-drop birds. Saz Chocobo. I always thought it was Chocobo. Chocobo is just so good. I mean, whenever land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That's just absolutely insane. I mean, just every turn, basically, we're just going to be making this bigger. And yeah, I really do like this card. It's sweet in a landfall deck. Spoiler alert, I'm planning on doing a landfall deck for the channel. But overall, I really do like our 1-drop birds. But we're also playing 4 copies of Mockingbird. It makes sense in this deck because obviously it's a bird, and then whenever you copy something, it still stays being a bird. So it makes sense to just go ahead and play the 4 copies of Mockingbird. We're also playing 4 copies of Ledger Shredder and 1 Haka Whispering Raven. So Ledger Shredder is just fantastic. It's symmetrical, and that's why we play this card. We're going to draw a lot of extra cards with Ledger Shredder, and it just happens to be a bird, which fits the theme of the deck. So the Allrend is technically the front side of Haka, but we're not going to cast Allrend pretty much ever in this deck. We're really just playing it because of Haka. 2/3 flyer for 2. When it deals combat damage to a player, return it to its owner's hand, then scry 2. It's just a really good bird. It's a 2/3 flyer bird for 2 that lets us scry. It's just a fantastic card. We were also playing 4 Aven Interrupter, 4 Traveling Chocobo, and 4 Choco Seeker of Paradise. So Aven Interrupter is just a great bird. A lot of people forget that this card is a bird, but it's just absolutely fantastic in the Pioneer metagame, and that's why we're playing it. We already talked about Traveling Chocobo and Choco Seeker of Paradise. This is part of the synergy of this deck. So 4 mana, 3/5. Whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of them into your hand, then put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped and the rest into your graveyard, and then has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So the real synergy with this deck is Traveling Chocobo and Choco. That's how we're going to do some really crazy things in this deck, which we're going to talk about in the land section, funny enough, because we're doubling all these triggers. Obviously, Choco has a really nice ability of being able to put lands into play, which is going to help all of our landfall creatures, and it's going to be really fun. So we'll go ahead and talk about that, but I got to talk about the last thing real quick. We're playing 3 copies of Get Lost. I wanted a removal spell. Get Lost is really good. That's it. That's all. That's why we're playing the Get Lost. It's just a really good card. But let's go and hop into the lands here. So we're playing 24 lands. We're playing some landfall creatures, so we want to make sure that we can definitely put some extra lands into play. But the spicy lands that I'm playing in this deck, it's a little bit weird. I thought it would be more spicy maybe than like more practical for the most part, just because I've always loved playing these lands. We're playing the deserts. We're playing 4 Lush Oasis and 4 Lonely Arroyo and 4 Sun-Scorched Desert in this deck. So the idea is we're going to have the Traveling Chocobo, and then we're just going to get a whole bunch of like extra triggers from all of our deserts here. It's going to deal some extra damage. That's why we're playing all these, because after all, we're a bird deck. It's not like we're going to be able to take out our opponent really fast. The idea, get out some cheap flyers, get a Chocobo, hopefully have a traveling Chocobo, we attack him with our cheap flyers, put a whole bunch of deserts into play, and just deal a whole bunch of extra damage to our opponent. That's what we're looking to do. But we're also playing 2 copies of Botanical Sanctum, 2 copies of Seachrome Coast, and 2 copies of Cavernous Souls as our other dual lands in the deck. We are also playing 3 Breeding Pool, 2 Hallowed Fountain, and 1 Basic Plains. And as our spicy basic land of the day, I literally looked up on Google, I just went, Bird Plains. And this is the one that came up, and I'm like, well, that's the planes that we're going to feature in the deck. I try to feature like lands that kind of make sense or maybe like fit the creature type really well. Yeah, there's a bird in there. Why wouldn't I just play the bird planes? It makes sense. I also do really love the Mirage lands because they kind of remind me of just like that early Magic. I didn't play, obviously, at this time. Actually, not to make some people feel old, but I wasn't even alive at this time when this set came out. Mirage did. But I don't know. I really love these old style planes. It's the planes that I started playing with, at least this era. So yeah, I really do like it. And yeah, there's a bird on the plains. Makes sense to go ahead and feature this specific one. Okay, so let's go and hop into the sideboard. So the sideboarding, I love to mention this in all my videos. This is just personally what I would play. If your sideboard looks a little bit different, that's fine. Feel free to go ahead and switch things up. This is just personally what I run into at my local game store as well as Magic Arena. So most of this sideboard is going to be white. White just naturally has really good sideboard cards in general. And especially when we're playing Bant, we have so many different options. So I tried to keep it relatively simple. So we're playing 2 copies of Deafening Silence, 2 copies of Portable has our 1-drop sideboard cards. Deafening Silence is always great against all the different Spellslinger decks. Portable Hole is fantastic at answering any early game threat like Manifold Mice and then obviously Heartfire Heroes and Soulscar Mages and Land War Elves, whatever. Portable Hole is really good at answering those. We're also playing 4 copies of Rest in Peace. Guess what? There's a lot of graveyard decks in the metagame, and Rest in Peace is fantastic at taking care of those. We're also playing 2 copies of Night of Autumn. I wanted a creature that entered and was able to destroy an artifact or enchantment, most notably Unholy Annex. Yeah, it's not a bird, but it's just a really, really good card, and it fits our colors, so that's why we're playing it. We're also playing 1 copy of Settle the Wreckage, the one of Sneaky Settle. It gets them every time, what can I say? And then we're also playing 4 copies of Lofty Denial. Really fits our deck just because we are playing a lot of cheap flyers, so I really do like the Lofty Denial as basically a better mana leak for the most part in the deck. So overall, really happy with that. I wanted to feature a counterspell, and I thought Lofty Denial was definitely the best option for this deck. Okay, so the next thing we have to talk about is the tips and strategy. I only have 2 things with this deck. It seems relatively straightforward. You know, obviously, we get out our birds, hopefully get out a Traveling Chocobo and Choco, and then attack, put a bunch of lands into play that have the pinging effect with all the deserts, and then we take out our opponent. That's what we're looking to do, but 2 things I want to go over. So the first thing, don't forget your Connive Trigger. Just please don't. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people play this card, even at competitive events. I've gone to a lot of RCQs, and I've seen people miss this. It's whenever a player. It's not whenever you. It's symmetrical. If your opponent, I guess this obviously only applies to you if you're playing in paper, but it applies to both players. If your opponent casts their second spell, make sure you connive. I've seen so many people miss it, and it's just frustrating in the sense that the reason you play this card is so you can draw more cards. Don't forget, you want to draw cards with this. So I had to get that off my chest because I've seen so many people miss their Connive Triggers. Don't miss your Connive Triggers. Please, just don't do that for me. And then the second thing I have to mention with this deck is Choco can lead to a fast KO. We talked about it already. I think it's like the best thing you can do in this deck. We get a Traveling Chocobo. We got a few cheap creatures, you know, like a Judge's Familiar. Heck, even a Gilded Goose. We attack. Okay. We're tagging with 4 birds, let's say. All right, we get to, you know, look at 4 cards and then put one of them into our hand. So, okay, we got another Traveling Chocobo, goes into our hand, put all the lands into play. Okay, hey, we put 2 deserts in. That means we hit our opponent for 4, which is just really, really cool. So, yeah, Choco can lead to a fast KO. It's 4 mana. I mean, it's very rare that we're ever just going to, like, curve out in this deck and then get the win. It's definitely very possible. I mean, we could just go, like, bird, Traveling Chocobo, Choco, attack. I mean, it's possible. Very, very possible. But not something that's going to happen every time. But just, I really wanted to highlight the synergy between these 2 cards. It definitely is fantastic. Okay, so the last thing I have to mention is the budget options for this deck, which I'm going to be honest with you, this deck is going to be relatively pricey if you're looking to build it how it is, just because of the Final Fantasy cards. So one thing is, as of the recording of this video this set is still about a month out. The spoilers started so early, but I really wanted to hop on here early to talk about like the different decks you could build, just because, you know, people want to build stuff with all the new cards, and then that way when they come in, maybe you have an idea of what you want to build and you can go ahead and pick them up. But this deck's going to be pricey because obviously it is a 3-color deck, but you can play some budget rainbow lands and your deck will still be very, very consistent. Luckily for us, we're playing a lot of the deserts, which are already like a quarter each, so that definitely helps out our cost a lot. But if you're really looking to play birds and you want to do it cheap, you can just play Azorius birds as well. I mean, and heck, maybe you have a few traveling chocobos, you just kind of throw those in, play like some secluded courtyards or botanical sanctum, you throw a few of those in, and then you could just play blue-white bird flyers just with traveling chocobo. I'm not sure, but overall with this deck, it's relatively pricey. So it's $360 for a Pioneer deck, which is kind of on the upper parts for the most part, especially decks that we feature here on the channel. A lot of it's tricky though, because I don't know how expensive a lot of these cards are. I think Traveling Chocobo is going to be around a $10 card. I think Choco is going to be pretty cheap. It's a 3-color card. The set's going to get opened a lot, but people are definitely going to want to build bird commander decks. So I don't know how expensive these cards are going to be. So by the time, you know, Final Fantasy comes out, I could be totally wrong with these prices. But based off of what I think it's going to look like, the current list would be $360, and the budget list would be $100, which is pretty good for a 3-color deck. Again, it's really just Traveling Chocobo is the only expensive card in this deck. Without this deck's super cheap, but it's also way less good. Traveling Chocobo is amazing in bird decks. It's rare that we get synergy cards that are that powerful. It's kind of like the weird tipping scale of like, it's a really strong synergy card, but it's for a creature type that's not crazy strong. So who knows, we get some more better birds in the future, and all of a sudden this deck is looking absolutely fantastic. Who knows? But yeah, I love featuring creature type matters decks here on the channel. Birds is also just really fun to do. So thank you, Final Fantasy, for printing some really cool bird cards. And that way I could feature a really, really spicy Bant bird list for you today. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. The deck lists are in the description below if you'd like to check them out for yourself. Huge shout out to our channel members, Ralph, Matt, Arcadius, Ray, Gary, Saranoki, Michael D, our premium channel member, The Common Cold, Jeremy P, and BG Stilts. If you are interested in being a channel member, it starts at $1 US a month, and you gain access to the exclusive Commander Crane Discord, as well as other features here on the channel. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.